All right, I'd like to call over the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority, December 6th, 2021, at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Wines. Here. White. Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck.
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Cold Iron. And Strellick.
Here. I do barely declare a quorum. The invocation tonight would be by Gloria Brown.
Father, we're so thankful for this day that you've made, and we rejoice and we're glad in it. We're thankful, Lord, to be able to come and serve in the positions of city council people, and for the staff and administration that are here to serve the city of Perry. We ask, Lord, that you give us wisdom tonight as we make decisions that will just honor you, and we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, item number 1 is the consent agenda. There's one item.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Strellick.
Yes. Comments from those assembled pertaining to the PMA agenda? Hearing none. Item 5, proclamation and commendation reports and inquiries by the governing body. Item 6, consider approval of resolution number 2021-01 adopting the guidelines for the distribution generation program for the Perry Municipal Authority. Mr. Attorney?
Yes.
We will momentarily hold up so you...
Oh, no, I know where we are.
Well, you're not there, is the point. Item 6.
Yes. Yet currently, there are these aggregators that go to existing businesses that create electricity. They may do it by solar power, they may do it by wind, they may do it by generators. Let's take a good example. O'Keene. O'Keene has Mountain Country Food, and it's a big dog food plant. 250 people work there. And they have 2 Cummins or Warren Cat generators. They're about 600,000 apiece. And they sit there and they wait for a blink. Because if you have a blink in power and making biscuits, dog biscuits, you just lost everything in your oven. So these generators, as soon as it blinks, they fire up and they supply power. Well, these aggregators come along and say, why don't you run that generator all the time and sell that power back on the grid, and they just pick and choose. They get this generator and this generator and this generator, and they sell it back on the grid. And they can make you buy it. OMPA, there's a FERC rule that says up to 4 megawatts, you have to do that. But if you're a community that takes less than that, you don't have to participate in that. What they are requesting on PA is that we don't participate in letting aggregators collect excess of electricity from anybody. It could be somebody with a solar panel, and it actually encourages that. Of course, the downside is, we're in the business of selling power, and if they're selling it back to you, you're not buying it from OMPA. They can't meet the covenants that they have, and we own fractions of the coal plants, gas plants, generation. We need to make sure those payments are made. So their recommendation, if Jennifer was here today, her recommendation would be for us to approve this resolution at this time, not allow aggregators to aggregate power in our community, continue to buy from them, which is our right under this exception, under this FERC rule. So that's what this is.
That was part of their discussion when they were here several weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Council, any questions for Bryce?
And I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 2020-01, adopting guidelines for the distributed generation program for the Perry Municipal Authority.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dovek,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 7, consider and take action with respect to resolution number 2021-2, agreeing to file an application with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board, OWRB, for financial assistance through the OWRB State Drinking Water Revolving Fund Loan Program, with the loan proceeds being for the purpose of funding water system improvements, providing professional services agreements, and containing other provisions related thereof.
Tonight we have John Wolf, and we also have our own Vernon present. There is an opportunity that John is going to speak of, and that is an opportunity to borrow from the Oklahoma Water Resource Board and to get principal forgiveness of the principal of the loan in an amount greater than we've seen down there ever, and at a rate that is, at least equal to the lowest rates in the history of the United States, and payable over a 30-year period. The concept of making improvements to your system is if you can do it in increments where it doesn't cost the users a lot, but the users pay for it over the period of the term of the note. I mean, they repay that debt and in return get improvement distribution system. I think Vernon is going to speak to you about the success of the master drainage program and how that relates, how that relates to you or to customers individually. You do these things and you go, I wonder how that worked. He's going to tell you how that worked. We also, with Vernon today, and Vernon assisted us with that sewer master study years ago when we said, we really need to fix these sewers. And we hired Blaine to help us with that. We went to the ground people and said, where are the problems? And we went through and fixed those problems. Well, we've come back to Vernon again, and we've asked him, where are the water problems? We're in our distribution system. So, and I have a handout for all of us that will be a part of Vernon's presentation. But I think first we'll hear from John. Let's hear what this program is about, what the opportunity is, and whether we could even get qualified within. Here, take all of these. Whether we could get qualified within the appropriate time. I just want to make sure that communities that I represent see the opportunity early enough and are able to make a decision about it, because this one has kind of a quick ticker on it, and I do want John to discuss.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of new faces tonight. The last time we were here, may have one existing face. We did help you as your municipal advisor anytime that you're looking to fund infrastructure type projects. Just give you a little bit of background of who we are, because someone shows up, starts talking about doing financings and loan programs and so forth. You need to know a little bit about our firm. Our firm is registered as a municipal advisor with the SEC and the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board. And we provide, as far as our firm, we assist you with any of your financing needs and a lot of what goes into determining whether you're eligible for various programs. We help prepare term sheets, packages, so forth, if you're issuing bonds, if you're going to borrow funds from banks. But we analyze your ability to pay back debt, and then we try to identify the most economical solutions for you as a municipality. Our firm represents cities, school districts, counties, other types of governmental entities in the state, but our main focus is on cities. We represent, 120, 130 cities in Oklahoma. And what we try to do is to put information in front of you so you can make the best business decision, but at the end of the day, get you the best interest rate, lowest cost, and as part of that responsibility with all of our clients, we are, I would say, on a daily basis, talking to the state agency, the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. They have 3 different programs. They have what's called a drinking water SRF program, or statewide revolving fund program, where they receive federal dollars, and those dollars are matched with originally with state appropriations. And it's a revolving fund program. It's one of the more successful programs in the United States. It's a AAA rated program, and the Oklahoma Water Resources Board offers the drinking water program for water projects, a clean water SRF program for sewer projects, and stormwater. And they also have what's called a bond loan program, or what's called a financial assistance program. What's the value to you tonight is 2 things that Bryce had mentioned. The Oklahoma Water Resources Board, under their drinking water SRF program, which is actually administered by the Department of Environmental Quality, they have a program where they are constantly trying to have dollars that are available for those entities that need help, those that aren't AAA rated type communities. And so their focus is to get out and try to provide benefits to cities throughout the state of Oklahoma. And as Bryce had mentioned, the program is the lowest interest rate program you have. And you can borrow up to 30 years. And if your asset life is 30-year life, such as water lines, sewer lines, then you can borrow over that period of time at a very low interest rate. We are in the lows of, as far as interest rates for the United States of all time. Today, if you were to close a loan through this drinking water SRF program, you would be under 2% fixed for 30 years. That's a value on its own. The Department of Environmental Quality at the, I'd say, 22nd, 23rd of November, put out a memorandum that they were going to amend their, what's called their subsidization plan. That's under their program. For the last 4 years, they received so many dollars to also throw in grants. And up until November 22nd, that grant in the form of a principal forgiveness, you don't have to pay this amount back. If you borrowed $1 million in the past, over the last couple of years, you could be eligible for a $250,000 principal forgiveness. You would not have to pay that portion of the loan back. based on their eagerness to get dollars that they have received from capitalization grants from EPA over the last 4 years, they are trying to get dollars out the door. So they will loan or provide as part of their loan up to $1 million in principal forgiveness, or 25% of the par amount of the loan that you would take out through the OWRB under the Drinking Water SRF program. And the issue is they want to get those dollars out the door as soon as possible. We probably do 80 to 90% of all the loans that go to the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. And so they reached out to us to ask if we knew of communities that would be interested in this type of grant, and then how quick could they be ready. The more dollars they get out the door out of their set aside, this capitalization grant set aside, the better chance they get dollars coming up this fiscal year coming up. So we essentially started calling clients. We work with Bryce and other cities and said, if your community is in a position where they can be out to bid relatively soon, the next 3, 4, 5 months, you could be eligible for up to this $1 million, or 25% of whatever you would borrow through the drinking water program. And so what I passed out is just a matrix table showing you if you were to borrow $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, or $4 million, the amount of principal forgiveness you would receive under the subsidization allotment. And then there's also an additional $100,000 if you're considered a disadvantaged community, which is tied to your income, and we'd have to see where you fall. But if your income is below a certain level, you would also be eligible for an additional $100,000 principal forgiveness. And so, having no clue of what kind of projects you would have that could potentially, and this will be discussed after I get done talking, we didn't have any idea where Perry was, nor any more than some of our other communities, but I want to at least give you a preview of what that essentially means to you. So if we take a hypothetical amount, that if you were ready to go to move on, and this is only on water projects, and these are on projects that would move along fairly quickly. The board's SRF programs, and more specifically the drinking water program, is a federally subsidized program. There are environmental requirements that you have to address, unless significant compliance that you have to address, unless the project would receive what's called a categorical exclusion to the environmental. In essence, you're not turning new ground. You're not disturbing new ground that can involve disturbing archaeological issues, environmental issues. And so as we've talked to cities over the last week, the key issue is, do you have any projects that would involve that you're not tearing up new ground, and how quick could you be out to bid? And so in a hypothetical situation, if you were to qualify under both the subsidization allotment and the disadvantaged community program, if you were to borrow $2 million, you would only have to pay back $1.4 million of the $2 million. Once again, we're at some of the lowest interest rates. It's actually a little less than 2%. So you would look at, if you were to do a 30-year loan, and that's the estimated life of any water line that you would lay, then your annual payment, if you were to do a 30-year loan, would be $62,000 a year. The total interest paid over the term would be $468,000. So if you look at getting $2 million for projects, you would essentially only have to pay back $1,868,000. So the actual principal forgiveness would cover all your interest, plus it would actually cover more than your interest costs. And so this is an opportunity for you. We're talking to multiple cities. there's only $8.4 million right now that they are trying to get out the door. And this conversation started 10 days ago. It's first come, first serve. If you're ready, great. If you're not ready, we just wanted to provide this to you because, as Bryce has stated, in the past, prior to the last 3 or 4 years, there was no principal forgiveness provided. In the last couple of years, that amount increased to $250,000. The $100,000 disadvantaged community has been around for a couple of years at least. But they just came to us and say, hey, do you know of any cities? And so all we could do, they don't have the manpower to call up everyone, but they know that we have relationships with multiple communities, so I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Like I said, we wanted to come before you and let you know that this opportunity was there. Key element to this is that you're out to bid relatively soon. And this is not at this juncture, the intent is it would be great from the DEQ's end if everyone was ready to go next month and they all had projects that pull down the maximum million, and then DEQ would feel comfortable those dollars are going out the door. Right now, it's still a collection process to determine who is ready to go. But the key thing is it's first come, first serve. So we just want to at least to assemble a list to provide to DEQ and say these X number of communities would be ready to go by X date, and then they can work through that list and then relatively soon determine these cities would be eligible. So I'd be glad to answer any questions that any of you may have.
It's not prepayable, right?
Oh, the loan itself at
Yeah.
any point in time? The way the program is set up, it'll read, because if you decide to do this and someone is looking at the closing documents, you can prepay any time upon OWRB consent. But what that essentially means is when they loan dollars to you through the SRF program, they actually go out and issue bonds, and those bonds actually fund multiple SRF loans. And when those bonds are issued, they have a call provision or prepayment provision, which is typically 8 to 10 years. And so they will probably not look at any type of prepayment acceptance for the first 8 to 10 years. What we have seen, though, here in the last decade, why would you want to pay off a 2% loan? Pay off all your other loans that don't get 2%, but you're not locked in for 30 years. The longest you would be locked in would be 8 to 10 years. So that's a good question.
Is there a maximum per municipality? Have they come up and said $1 million's the max, or?
The million is max. It is 25% of your loan amount. So $4 million would be your.
This was at the $4 million.
Yeah, the $4 million. You could ask for $8 million, but you're only going to get $1 million. The million's the cap. Yeah.
On the forgiveness side.
Right, yes. On the loan amount, it just depends on what you can pay back, and that's the other side of the issue. You know, as we talk to each city, you got to determine how you're going to pay for this. As much as I can tell you, you're getting a substantial part of free money, you're still paying back the dollar amounts that we show here. And so I know that there was discussions today, but it's key that you have dollars set aside to take advantage of this and pay back the debt service reasonably with what you see here over the period of time. So if you were looking at $2 million at a 2% rate, and you were to also receive the disadvantaged community $100,000, you're paying $63,000 a year. You got to come up with $63,000 from someplace, and so that's the other side of what you need to discuss. And at the end of the day, we're going to sit down and we're going to put everything together. And if you can't cash flow it, we don't have an application to take to the Oklahoma Water Resources Authority. You're going to have to show that you can come up with those dollars. And I will let you know, we haven't gone in and looked at, as of today, this is how it'll affect you. We'll work with your accounting firm that you work with and make sure that everybody's happy. But this all has to be understood that you're still borrowing funds, and you have to be able to pay it back, and you have to meet certain debt covenants. And the debt covenants, basically, when I say that, you have to have enough revenues that you meet a debt coverage covenant and so forth.
Well, on that point, there's good news. And the good news is that even if you do nothing today, the rate is going down. Well, how is that possible? Isn't that good news? Water rates are going down. And that is because you did something like this in 2010. And it was actually an 11-year deal, and it defeased in 2021. And you had it was called an ODEQ adder, and it was to add some water lines to put the cover over the water basin, and we have determined that indebtedness has been paid off, and it's about a $2, a portion of $1.07 was placed on the
Base.
on the base, and then there was a piece that was paid, and of course some people paid more than $2, and then the average person paid, probably less, but it was $2. So that's coming off. So yippee, water rates are going down. Everything helps. So kind of what we're saying is, that's good, but why did the water rates go up? Well, because we wanted to help our system. As you know, our water system doesn't even cash flow. Am I saying that correctly? I mean, it's subsidized by some other utilities. Our rate isn't high enough to cash flow our water system, which, it needs to be, but that's for another day. We called Russ, and $2 is going away. He thinks that on this issue it would need a $4 increase, which is a net $2 increase. I mean, over what you're paying today, for $2, and that wouldn't have to all be placed on the minimum. It could be put in the rates. You could put it wherever you want, and you could figure out how that could work. I know nobody likes water rates, and this is the one piece I didn't do, but we haven't had any rate increases in water, like I would say 3 years. I was going to check that, and I don't have that information today. And during that time, if it's 3 years, okay, because I mean, you would remember if you raise rates. I don't think we have, but we'll check on that. I don't have that piece. But, during the last 3 years, the CPI has gone up 4%. And so if you took 4% times all the rates, which is just the minimum to continue it, as you know, cost of living is really going up now. I mean, what will that look like next year? But, that 4% is significantly more than a $2 water rate increase. I mean, that would be very, very, just a small part, very small part. In fact, maybe like 25% or something. She can give you the actual number. But I wanted to set that out. The only way you do this, if you're not funding it through your rate, and then putting that money aside to work on these distribution projects. And, this is distribution, as you can see from here. There's also things that we have to prevent freezes that we're wanting to do, pump maintenance. But there's 35 blocks. and we used very conservative numbers, I think. The material, labor, fire hydrants, contingency, 20% contingency, I mean, who knows where the prices are gonna go. And the one other thing I wanted to say is that, I mean, you said at a previous meeting that, you know, if we don't, first of all, the fees are all contingent. You don't make anything if we don't fund. Nobody makes anything if we don't have an issue. So it's just putting you to work for free, and then it's you determining at a later time what you want to do. Now, if you don't do it, you had said that the money would probably be gone by Christmas. At least it would probably be called upon, right? Or spoken for.
I cannot see it, yeah. There's $8.4 million that they're trying to get out the door. The most anyone can get is $1 million. So if you have 9 communities wanting $1 million, then it's gone. Right now, we have 5 communities that probably gonna qualify and be out to bid in the next 4 months on $1 million. So that leaves 4.5. And so it's, like I said, it's first come, first serve. Yeah, I can imagine. Like I said, we represent 120 cities. It doesn't mean that there aren't other cities also talking to other firms that do what we do, but we do a majority of the state. So, and we've already talked to numerous communities, but there's some that are saying, oh, I don't know if we can get it done in time. We just want to put everybody in the best position. So,
and we've got to put that caveat there. Can we get it done in time? Okay. So it's going to require us to secure an engineer. Vernon will talk a little bit about these lines. In fact, Vernon, come on up.
yeah, I think it's.
But he's going to talk about the lines. You know, they're not heavy in downtown or where it would be real complex. There are huge runs where, you know, we think that would probably be easy to engineer. And we're also going to determine how much engineering is required when you're replacing water lines. Now, the ODEQ and the OWRB or the OWRB may require to get the loan to make sure that you have the right numbers, but we're going to check on that because you can do a 900-foot run of new water line without getting a permit, and at least what I was told, you can replace more than that without getting a permit if you're replacing it and your sizing isn't going up significantly. And in ours, we're not going up.
We are upsizing the section from down 7th Street from an 8-inch to a 10-inch. And then we're gonna downsize that short section that comes down off of where the old tower used to be from a 12-inch down to a 10-inch, because that's not our main primary feed anymore.
Why don't we, for purposes of this, why don't we put that map up if everyone could stand up? Let's just look at everyone get up, let's go look at the map, and we don't have to be on TV or, so you can see where all this is going to be.
So this section here, we would be upsizing from 8-inch to a 10-inch. This is already existing 10-inch over to where the old 13th Street tile was at, which we no longer have. And then when we come out of there, this was our main primary feed before the 10-inch come in. This one came around to feed the square. This one is 12-inch coming out. And it started out 12-inch and then come around because it was the main feed for Ditch Witch's Tower. We don't have that anymore. We now come around with the new 12-inch around, and it is the primary feed for Ditch Witch's Tower. So we're going to downsize this section to a 10-inch. We're going to keep this out here so that if we do any more developing in this section, we'll have a feed for here to cross over from Fern. I mean, we thought about taking it out, but if we take it out and then we do develop here, then we're going to figure out how to get the water there. We're already getting ready to use it for the simple silage. We're going to bring some hydrant across over for fire protection for simple silage, the dentist, Pizza Hut, donut shop, stuff like that, to make it a shorter run from Russell to get not having to go 400 or 500 foot away with his truck, he can be right there within close on that. So we're gonna use that 10 inch for that.
Is there a major water line across this area?
Yes, we have from our south tower, which is here.
Okay.
We have a 10 inch that comes right between the hospital and 15th Street, comes up, and then comes back up and then crosses over and ties in here. It's a 10 inch also. Everything, we have another 10 inch here, which comes over into this, where comes up, feeds the square. This comes down and feeds the square. We've already replaced the square project itself. And then in-house, we did this one block whenever they were repairing this road before they blacktopped it. We wanted to make sure the new line, because we had issues with it, of it blowing out. We didn't want to put new asphalt down and then have to go tear it up. So we did that one block while they were tearing the road out. So,
Vernon, show them how the water comes in from CCC link, and
CCC.
then how it wraps around, and then where we did those additional lines north from.
So we're coming in, this will be in for a flow into the plant. And we come in, now there's also an 8 inch here, because it also goes out when we did the same project to go out and do Skyline. But they both run in together and then come in. And while we were doing that, that's when we put in the, the 12 inch loop tower, which comes in out of the back of the plant. It comes out and goes down I-35, which is what fed 32nd Street. Comes back around Fur, and now is what feeds Ditchwich Tower. And everything from Fur, Fur, we did water lines down both sides of First Street from 15th to 5th on one side and 15th to 7th on the other. We did Holly, Grove, or no, not Grove, we did Holly, Ivanhoe, Hall. We did all of them from 15th to 5th. We did this whole addition over here. Let's see. So we did this whole addition in here from 11th Street to Highway 77, from Boundary back to 77. And looped all this in. And once we've done that, that was back in 2010. And that has put our leaks down from being 100% to we do now maybe 10% of our leaks are here. And all that is mainly on service lines, which is something that they didn't do. They put in the main line and inside the service line. So now on the main, we don't have that many leaks in here. It's mainly just on service lines. So that's cut back on a lot of the leaks here and then down those main roads where we've done the spurs from 15th to 5th Street. On them, it's cut back on a lot of them. This one here is one of our main issues that come up and around another feet. I don't remember, it's been about 4 years ago, right here, when we ended up over there for like 2.5 days and it blew out. And so that's where we run into low pressure, some of the towns not having water because of the way we have to isolate it and stuff like that. And then we've done it, another block, we've done it up at the Ivanhoe, Jackson, and every time that line blows, it's an issue. The valves are on, some of them don't work, so we have to determine who we're gonna shut down, who we're gonna create low pressure with to be able to work that, and most of the times it's a 2 or 3 day job.
Engineers. So did I understand what he said correctly, that this money couldn't be used to feed this?
Nothing new.
Nothing new.
Nothing new, you have to do the environmental.
But, so what is it that you see as a need? You mentioned replacing the 12 or the 10.
Well, and that's what because right now, all of our main feed now is off of this tower. This is our main tower right now. So this one here only has a 10-inch line coming out to feed this 12-inch. So there's really no reason for it to be a 12-inch anymore. So we could take it down to the 10-inch like everything else that comes around, and then bringing this 8-inch up to a 10-inch is what, and that's part of the second feed for the square itself. This 10-inch here is the feed that comes in here at 6th and Cedar, and this would be the feed that comes in at 7th and Delaware.
So this would be a new line?
Yes.
Or a replacement?
I would replace this one where we're having issues with this one. We've had issues through this field here and right here where it crosses the tracks. And right now, we've got some going on right now. I've got to work with the railroad to be able to repair it. So I have to wait on them to tell me when I can do it.
This little piece on the east side of the tracks feed out here?
No. That, once we did the bridge project, that completely changed everything. So now.
Does it need to go under the railroad tracks?
Yeah, because, because we're still we're feeding this section here. It's not feeding anything here when we did that. So we've,
And that's just replacing it though, right? Because it already goes underneath, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we already pay our lease fee on this, and this is where the old water plant used to be. It was built here, so the way this used to be is it fed this way. So it fed out of this way, and it went this way, and it went up this way, then all this started getting added. So then they come in here, brought this 10-inch up as a feed. Now that we're here, they brought we come out of the plant at 14-inch. When we turn here, we start going down to a 10, and then when we get here, everything goes 10-inch around to here, and then back to here, and then everything else is existing that was already there. So all the new is from 91 is coming down 12th Street, down Birch, and then over to 15th where this new one comes in. And then, some of this 10-inch that comes up, I believe it's up to Elm on 8th Street, but we've never had no issues with any of that through there. It's mainly this and all of this stuff here. This line here, the 12-inch is even older. It's a concrete pipe, so it's even older than the cast pipes. All the rest of it is cast. We've got a few sections up here that's been causing us a lot of problems. That one there is on 7th Street between Wakefield and Clear Creek. When they put that in, because of the creek crossing, they put in steel pipe. So it's rusted over the years. And we'll fix it, and then we'll have to go back and fix it again. And it's fairly deep where it crosses the creek where they bored that under. If we get to switch that out and do this project, we'll switch it over to Follies. We'll never have to deal with it again. Not while I'm there.
And then the towers,
Yeah.
pumps.
The pumps, we got, I know we started a maintenance program on them. We have 4 of them left to pull, service, or rebuild, or replace. We don't know which way you gotta do. We've pulled them. Once we pull them, then whoever we have them do it, they'll determine whether they can be rebuilt. So far, all the ones that we've done have been rebuilt. We've done a backwash pump. We rebuilt it. We've done a high surface pump. It got rebuilt. The electric motor got reworked, oil changed in it, and then the pump house itself got completely rebuilt, new bearings. Now they're 27 foot long. They go down into our well station at the plant. So they're big pumps. They have to go out through the roof. We have 4 more of them left to rehab and go through. 2 of them are from original existing 91 when the plant was built. The other 2 were put in, I believe, in 02 when we upgraded the plant, and we added the 3rd basin and other 2 filters. We added 2 more high surface pumps.
What's the lifespan of the rebuild?
Let's see, they've been in there, 30 years? So,
So you can potentially, out of a rehab, can you get another 30 years?
I would say so, because 90% of the time when they do a rebuild, they're going back with the same brass bushings. They're going back, and the last one we had done, the outer housing of it on the rebuild was so bad, it went brand new pipes. So all the casing was brand new all the way up. It had the brand new impeller and head put on it. So the only thing that was really existing on it was the shaft and the head where the motor sets on. Everything else was pretty much brand new.
This might not be related, but we have a new development that's going to go here. What will feed that?
What will feed that?
Yes.
That's going to be coming off, they're going to bring off of Rose Terrace, and then Locust, I forgot, Locust was one of the sections that we did from 15th to 5th also. And so at that point, there was no water line there. So now we do have brand new water line that goes there, ties into the 10-inch over here and the 8-inch over here that comes off of this 10-inch. So that'll be, they're gonna do a 2-feed. It'll be fed off the front side, come in once they develop it. It'll have a second feed coming in to loop it for both sides. And I know a lot of that, I know Russell and them were working on that for the fire protection of that with the hydrants, to make sure they had the flow and stuff on that.
Is that water tower back online?
No, that's another thing we're working on.
So could
Is
this money be used to help with that?
Yeah, it probably could. I would think it could. I mean, in order to get that one back online, it went offline probably,
Well, if you don't bring it to
I couldn't tell you how long ago. It's been
Was
more.
that the TTHM issue? Is that why we?
No, the issue was with that tower was, the altitude valve here, and we still had this tower at the time. So to fill that tower, this one had to overflow.
We're getting the altitude valves
So-
fixed.
Right, so that one got taken offline and we were using this one, then I don't know, a couple superintendents back said, well, let's get rid of this tower, so they took that one out. By that time, that one didn't get winterized the way it should have. So, and to make it work with this one, we have to change altitude valves with this one. The height of that one is higher than this one. This is our primary, so we gotta get altitude valves to work them together. Or if we take this one offline for maintenance, that one will run without just running the water pump out.
I've got
So-
an expert coming to town in the next week or
And,
two.
yeah, and I know we've been doing some numbers on that, and I think altitude valves are around $4 or $5 grand. Then you gotta get them installed. The only difference is with that tower out there, it's been offline so long, so the only other step we gotta do with that one is we've got to sanitize it per DEQ, which I don't remember what the parts per million chlorine is with it, and then pull that out. We either have to dechlorinate the water or haul the water off, then we can put that one back online
That'll
and make
be
them work.
part of this too.
Yes, it can, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because the whole point is you can't move dirt.
Right, yeah, and any of that we're not, you know, and then we were looking at our last year cold weather, which got all of our communications over towers completely just from freezing. So we're looking at putting a insulated sleeve up the standpipe of the tower, and it'll go up over the bowl, and then they've got a mixer that will go in them, that will circulate the water to go around, so that it's not just more or less standing if nobody's using. Some of the towers don't use a lot, some do, but it'll keep the freezing issue down on the standpipes of the towers.
With this going down to a 10, the middle school's here, there's talks that one day the high school could be here, and you have the hopefully at some point, the retail that would finish out third. Is going down to a 10 a good idea if that really does all come to fruition?
I mean, right now, we don't have but this section from here to here that's 12 inch, and then everything else feed-wise is 10. So, I mean, it's not gonna hurt us nor help us to leave it 12 inch. I mean, that
We have to
was,
take something back to the tower, right?
yeah, I mean, for us to get, you know, if we were to upsize this to 12 inch, we would still have to come back to this tower, and, cause it's only 10 inch, so it's not gonna,
12 inch.
you know, we're going from a 10 to a 12, so it's not gonna make it a pressure any better, or, you know, and then, but if we go down to a 10, at least we're the same size as coming out going in. I mean, that's kind of what I'm, you know, and that was the deal. This tower was the main feed coming out for Ditch Witch, and that's why they did 12 inch to here. Then they went 10 inch here, but that was so they could fill the tower, plus the 12 inch was to feed the rest, carry everybody up. So now we've come around opposite complete way. Our 12 inch tower now feeds Ditch Witches, and you know, we've worked with them for years on how they're doing it. You know, before it would affect us depending on when they pulled or when they filled theirs. We've got it all worked now. Ours is full. Then they'll go at night, they'll fill their tower. we're filling back up in the way.
But
So-
there's some concern that they have with their new addition, that they may have a water, I don't know how to word it, but they may not have enough water capacity.
Right.
So if they put a second water tower, will we still be able to feed and supply them?
Yes. I mean, and what we'll do is we'll come
It's over
back.
here.
Yeah, it's gonna be over here, and we already have a feed that comes up here in their parking lot. It's not off the 12-inch and that, but it's just, at this time right now, it's a temporary deal. It's off the 6-inch line.
Because it's so easy.
And like I told them, if they're gonna go to a permanent usage off of it, we're gonna have to come back down in here and we're gonna have to tap the 12-inch and bring it up to them. Which, yeah, we discussed that at that last meeting.
So
With
just,
ditch witches.
so our supply to their properties is adequate, it would just be.
Yeah, we're 500,000, and I don't remember what their tank is. I think it's 100,000 on that one, or 150. So, and we're 500,000, and then they put another one that's 250. So then they're only gonna get half of what we have there, but we can set it at a rate where we can be filling it if we need to while they're pulling. So,
You'll be talking to them. Stop.
yes, yes. And that's what we're doing. We're getting that right now. You know, and that'll consist of getting, altitude valve for the south tower and the north tower with the elevations where they need to be to get them to work together. Or if we take this one offline for maintenance, that one can still
Bottom line
go where it needs
is,
to go.
we need to spend some money on that tower to get it back online.
Well, I mean, it's mainly just the altitude valve and then sanitizing it, and then it's ready to go.
So what does this give us in this project? This puts us,
The project is gonna create, like this, it's gonna stop the maintenance of the railroad tracks. Like this right now, I'm waiting on the railroad, I've gotta wait on them to give me the okay, cause on this section here where it's leaking, it's in between fast track and their loading track. So when we go to fix that, we've got to set up, we got to dig in between the tracks. They never shut the trains down, so we're working as they say we can. We have to shut down and move while the train goes by, set back up, and then to do the leak. And it seems like every year that winter time is when it goes. And they noticed it, I believe it was a week or two ago, I met with them. I'm just waiting on them to say, okay, hey, we're ready to jump on it, we're ready to get it fixed. So, but we gotta wait on them. It's their property and so I don't wanna go to jail. Cause that's where it would go. I mean, they called us up there.
Did you tell them about taking this out?
No, I hadn't. I mean, and that's an old feed from when they built Sooners and everything that comes off of this tower. It's still the old concrete pipe that comes down I-35, crosses I-30, comes back up and dead ends here. What we were discussing is bringing it off the 12-inch on the
Because
other
of dead ends,
side.
we have to take samples there, and those samples can adversely affect us, so. if we-
That's one of the things, when we do our sampling for our TTHMs or our back tees or anything, that's one of our sites. So we have to flush that quite regularly, like we do on some of our other dead end lines that are there. And that would completely stop us, that dead end line being there.
How's your 12-inch get across?
Our 12-inch is already on this, it's on the, be on the south side of 77 highway, and it comes to I-35. It comes down, it's gotta come down to the off ramps, into the off ramps, crosses over, and it comes back up and then down. So yeah, we'll have to bore the highway to get all these tied in. This would be a 6-inch. Imagine we'd have to do this one 6-inch because they got fire protection there. I believe they got 2 hydrants, one in the front, one in the back, I believe it is, I can't remember. So we would have to get them back and, get that hydrant back and this front one back. The rest of these lines would just be regular 1-inch service lines.
You talked about replacing that and decided to.
Right, I
Probably be better to
mean,
just-
that was one of the things I was thinking, but then if we do it that way, then that's gonna help us as our, for our samplings, and then we don't have to flush. We won't even have to flush there, because we're no longer dead and we're already on a fluid flow of the water, and nothing's gonna, I mean, it won't never have a chance to get stagnant.
More about security guys, so Gary and I would head out, and we would go.
There it is.
So we would work security, all you do is just stand there, they said, put your hands in your pockets, stick your chest out,
These were taken care
and you
of.
would stand and guard the stage.
You already said that this other area, that was
You
one of
were
the bigger
just
issues.
doing concert.
How many other areas
I was just-
does that leave Perry with, but
Just
That's
looking
regular
around,
leaks.
and I thought,
Bryce was probably there.
Bryce probably.
close to
He was
the
probably.
I mean,
Yes.
like on our sewer rehab, we've been doing it for about,
You don't
I
matter
was
what
gonna say
concert.
7 years. So it's probably been
Security.
closer to 9 years that we've been doing our sewer rehab.
70s and
In
80s.
the time that we have done that, we have replaced about 23,000 foot of sewer pipe.
Once I was
Starting
security
with,
guard.
from the oldest, doing all our sections and all that. So we've cut down on doing sewers.
That was security.
Or just on a daily basis, we've cut down from doing anywhere from 5 to 10 or maybe more a day in those sections, to probably that per week now or less in a week. Okay?
This would have been.
On the holidays when everybody's gathering,
With the game.
I know, I mean, that's, I'm 24/7 call, so, so that's one of our things that, you know, I mean, like this Thanksgiving, I never got a call. Normally, I think it's been like that about the past, probably 3 or 4 since we've done all this. We've completed our big last one up on Rose Terrace from 9th Street to 15th Street. That was a big one right there that we did. It was a big issue also. So I mean, it's helped. I mean, we've cut way back. I mean, on doing sewers daily and monthly on them. You know, I mean, we could do, like I say, anywhere from 10 a day to, you know, and then into the night, doing 3 or 4 or 5 more. And now we're down to maybe
I'm not OU fan,
5
but
a week,
that
or
guy,
maybe 10, but I mean, and that's,
I
you
always
know.
thought, seriously, whenever he was on
So,
the
so we've done the
We
biggest
had
part
strong.
of the 50 and
Oh, yeah.
60-year-old sewer
He
lines.
is strong.
And that's what we're looking at on these water lines.
Yeah.
right
You see
here.
the space.
You know,
Yeah.
that's about where they are. This section here, I would say, would probably be the oldest, and then they brought
He was
this
just
out
so-
for the square.
It's just.
This
I'm thinking,
Is I believe original to the water plant when they started branching out.
Because I
It was
was,
supposed to be
I went
back
that
to
way and feeding the square in another
I
section.
don't know where they went from.
So, I mean, they're old, I mean, and they're cast iron, the coatings to wear off.
I'll be climbing out here in a
I
minute.
mean, there's still gonna be some sections, but I
You
mean,
know I am.
I'm gonna be on my own, so we can start throwing stuff.
most of them now are plastic. I mean, so there's still gonna, like I said, there's still gonna be some sections.
I think it wasn't me saying October, FEMA told me.
I don't know, it's mainly gonna be probably, you know, here.
Somebody else got a letter the other night.
We haven't had a whole lot of issues with them. Now, say we do all that,
So I'm wondering.
we probably would start there. I can't say, but I mean, that's where we're normally, you know, at. And my deal
And
is
it was,
it
it's
affects
the
the whole
weirdest thing, 'cause I
town.
looked it up online, and it's not on there.
Especially
But like, FEMA sent a
or
guy
no
a
water.
letter saying like, no,
And
it's
then
where
it
you
takes,
are.
you know,
And it
anywhere
was
from a day
not
or
an
two,
area
or maybe
that
longer
was
to get it fixed.
So I don't know
So
what
that,
happened.
you know, that's what I look at in life, is affecting the town, the pressure for everybody, and if we can stop it by upgrading it, that's what I would
The
rather
state
say.
of Brandon Thomas.
So we can
They're
start all
gonna
this in that time frame that he gave
But we were
us.
talking about that.
And how long do you think
It's
that
just gonna fire
project
you up.
like this
It's
is gonna take?
just
Oh,
gonna-
quite some time, I mean, it will take
She
some
said,
time, I mean,
first-
because they're gonna have to, you
Your house is
know,
in Boise.
go
Your house is
through,
in flood.
figure out how they're gonna cross each road, each driveway, whether it's gonna be a cut or a fur. I know what they would probably go in there
Property or
and
something, you catch. I think
do
you got this
the
job, which
pipe
I don't
pushing
know.
underneath there. A lot of the
Just to
other
me, I'm like,
intersections,
water
it
runs.
don't take that long for them to do that.
Well, I mean, my thought was
I think when we
even if rain
did
runs
all
in
of
your,
that
it still makes you
addition
flood.
here and all the other ones, it was probably
With the Oklahoma Water Resources.
a year and a half.
These
completed
people-
all
Yeah,
or less.
but there's different divisions of it.
And this would be, you think, equivalent to
So, yeah, I don't.
that
What
project?
does?
I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, because all that was
This
6-inch
would
stuff,
automatically
you know,
designate.
and this is all 10-inch, and I know when they did,
According
when they
to,
did a lot of that was no
where,
long line,
that
they were
Indian over
doing
there, the
road
whole
intersections, so
freaking
they just
housing
cut
sits
back.
in a bowl.
So
So the whole
some of
area
that, you
is
know,
our fault, we bought a house
so
there
maybe-
according to him.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
To me, it all depends on the whole.
but
Maybe.
this is the thing that they
I mean, that just depends
is
on
just because your house doesn't flood or isn't
how
in a
everything
floodplain
goes. I
area
mean,
does
if it
not
goes
mean
well, it could be probably
like impervious
a
to
year and a
floods.
half.
As
You know, we have issues, which,
Just
and
doesn't
we're
mean
going to, I know we're going to, because we're gonna get into some of them sections where, like I say, a valve don't work, then we gotta figure out what we're gonna do for them to be able to move forward past that spot.
But if somebody else does it, then not over in our area.
Some of it we've already done, I mean, you know, like the valving here is fairly good, which on this map, you're not seeing the other existing where we have another 10-inch that comes up to Cedar Street and then, shoots up Fifth Street, then goes all the way up Fifth Street to the ball fields and then comes back up. You can see part of it here, but it actually comes all the way down
I don't know if
Fifth.
I go
And
there.
then when it
We
hits
got
down
some
here
kids
at
right now
the,
that have bags and they're pretty sick.
which is Seth Wally's now, it cuts across the tracks over here to this corner right here, and then comes down. That's not in there, which ties
It's
into
a roll of the
this.
dice. It depends on.
Somewhere right in here, I'm not positive where, but,
Really?
you know, that's fairly
I
new.
got you. You mean
section
if,
too.
I thought you meant she has it. Oh.
If she would.
Because when they did that, they also, it actually did into the call, and they took this section and brought it and tied it all together to link this to.
Maybe not the top tier. Trust back to her. We may be bad things, but here.
Just be careful, because just because you got that, you still.
I know, but I was wearing mouth.
Yeah, this is just the water, yeah, this is just the water side. I wish I would've had the other map that was water and sewer, then you would've seen all the blue and then all the red. But I didn't have that one.
We need to figure out a grant.
All right, did everybody get your questions answered? Bryce, you wanna finish up?
Well, just, this is a contingent deal. It tells the OWRB that the city of Perry is interested. If you approve this resolution, there's no cost to it unless you decide to take advantage of this program. And can we get it done? Well, we're sure gonna try to if you want to. If not, we'll work on something else, but that's my thought.
But if we borrow the money, can we pay it back?
Yes, it's like I said, it would take net, given what we're going to take off, it will take net, given what users pay right now, it'll take $2 more.
And we can figure out how to allocate that, whether we want to do it all on the base fee or whether we want
Yeah,
to.
I mean, that's without lowering them. If you lower them, you lower them. In fact, we are going to lower them.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, we are gonna do that. We promised we would, we will. But, net of that, if you take the rates as they are right now, it'll take $2 more. Per month, and it'll be allocated in some way that'll, as best as possible, protect in my opinion, protect the the folks that aren't as able to pay. We just would have to set it up that way.
Well, I think that, it's just my opinion, I think that we ought to try to proceed with this, give our staff the next 2 weeks to a month to get all this started putting together and contact some engineers and work with Vernon and Russell and see where this thing can go.
I agree. So what is the action that we need to take?
It's approved, this resolution.
Okay, well, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-2.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you.
Could I say something about that? I think it was real impressive to listen to Mr. Robbins give his presentation over there. I think it's really neat for me as a council member to hear them and to see their professionalism and to see that our hometown boys know what they're talking about. So thank you.
And Vern's a good one.
I mean, he was just a little kid when I.
Still is, still is, ain't
Yes, I was.
I'm sure he's excited to get reminded about that.
he? He's about to start shaving.
Getting close.
Item 8, any new business that needs to come before the authority this evening? Hearing none, motion on adjournment. Item 9,
So moved.
roll call please.
Wines. Yes. Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, December 6, 2021 at 7:20. Roll call please.
Wine. Here. White. Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Caldar. Stroller.
Here, I do declare a quorum. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. Some items there.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call please.
Wine. Yes. Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda.
Thought it'll be me, but it'll be later, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Item 5, proclamation and commendation reports by the acquired and acquired by the governing body. Item 6, consider advertisement for bids for the city-wide sanitary sewer phase 5 capital improvement and set a date to receive the bids. This is the sewer project. We've had phase 1 through 4, I believe, so far. Is that right, Vernon? From 15th Street all the way over to 9th Street. This one here will run just a little bit east of 9th Street, all the way over to Highway 77 near the football field, correct?
Yes.
So this is just the last phase?
Yes, this is the last phase on that project.
Okay, motion to authorize the advertisement for bids and set January 26, 2022 at 10 a.m. as the date and time for our receipt of bids.
Second.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I do have a question. The other ones, they were paid off that grant, right? So once we
Yeah,
did get the bids.
NOTA grant. They had NOTA grants for those other ones.
And this was the last piece of it that did not qualify, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah,
once
there
we
was
get the
some-
bids back,
We do
How do
have
we
some monies,
proceed?
right, Bryce?
Yes, we're gonna use the ARPA funds.
okay.
Yes, we're gonna use those funds. We did learn today that we got the REAP grant, which we applied for. I just put that little note in there, which is another grant, $40,000 for waste treatment. I would like, have they already voted? Vernon, would you like to come just 1 minute? Come, because we talked about that today. Come and address the council on the sewer, on what the results of
Well,
the
I
sewer.
did, I did while we were standing
Oh,
here
you
talking,
did?
yes, about the 23,000 foot that we have already done and how it's cut back on our daily sewers, our monthly, after hours work. I did.
And
discuss that with
claims,
him.
and claims.
Yes,
by
and
the
our claims,
public.
yes, yeah.
That's why we kept them over there so long.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure, because,
Yes,
you
yeah,
know,
we discussed that.
right,
also.
no, that's important to know what the results are when you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
something like this, you know? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
So, any further discussion? Roll call.
Wines. Yes. Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 8, consider approval of resolution, wait a minute.
E7.
Item 7, Consider approval of the agreement of Oklahoma Municipal Management Services to provide building official services.
Jesse left. He was the building official. And in the interim, and perhaps, continuing, this group put city managers and code building officials and employees in places when there are gaps, when there are vacancies. But I think that they can, continue to provide you services if you want. The rates here are, I think, very good. It's a full certified building official, and there's no benefits, of course, as opposed to a regular employee. This is the group that puts a city manager in Norman, puts a city manager in Cushing, puts a city manager. I don't know. Did you operate? Was this Guthrie? Did you come in and do that?
This wasn't existent when I was at Guthrie.
Okay, but it puts people a lot of places, and so now they've extended to building officials. I've looked at the contract. I think it's good. There's a 30-day written notice provision. I think we should do it because we need these services.
I make a motion that we approve the agreement with the Oklahoma Municipal Management Services to provide a building official services.
Second.
Any further discussion? Question I do have is, does this mean that we will or will not be using the services of Craig Higley?
We probably will because of our commercial area. Do you want to talk about this? We have a lot of commercial situations coming down.
Well, to say that we have it 100% figured out would be a lie. I don't want to do that. But we're trying to move away from you leaning on Craig so heavily. So he will still be used sparingly as we go because, we're still figuring out. We haven't even met the inspector that will be in our area from OMMS. And so before we just over inundate, because we've got a lot of things coming down the pike, as Larry just said. So before we kind of pile on with that, I want to make sure that he's going to be able to handle that workload. And in that meantime, we're going to have Craig kind of offsetting a little bit.
But this seems like to me, for me anyway, the phone calls always get because of Craig Higley. I'm tired of it.
Okay.
Extremely tired of it.
Well, and we're going to more heavily rely on this guy and then increase that workload as it goes. So ultimately, the answer is probably will be phased out.
Yeah.
But in this gap that we're in, he'll still be around for a little while.
Okay. As long as there's an effort to figure out how we could do some other direction, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Wines, yes. Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 8, consider approval of resolution and election proclamation of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, resolution number 2021-11, notifying the Secretary of Noble County Election Board that there will be a nonpartisan special municipal election for the election of a certain elected official on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, providing for the dates of the filing period for such special election. The office will be filled at such nonpartisan election, special election, and the qualifications for office. This is this seat here, Ward 1, Post 1, that wasn't filled. We tried to get nominations, couldn't get nominations, and our time frame ran out. So we're required to have a special election, and that's what this is, notifying the election board of that.
Do we have to read that whole thing?
Huh?
So do we have to read that whole thing to approve it? Or can you just go to the resolution number?
Oh, no, I think
No,
just
just-
approve the resolution.
Yeah, approved resolution.
Good. Kevin, you're up.
Motion to approve resolution number 2021-11.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 9, discuss the possible city charter question concerning moving from ward for which the council person was elected and still retaining the seat. All right, I'm gonna give this to Mr. Kennedy. He's the one that come up with this idea. He's the one that researched this idea. And if it falls, on Mr. Kennedy.
Well, statutory council manager cities. So that's, that's not what we are. We're a charter council manager city. But statutory council manager city, that's our cousin, probably our first cousin, they don't have the same rules as our city charter. I mean, you can move, and if you move out of your ward, you retain your seat during that term. You don't lose it. So we've had this happen, a couple times, I think with, really good qualified folks. And I suppose it will happen more as, we're building houses and people, want to upgrade their life. And should people that upgrade their life, have to stay in their house to keep their seat. And the issue there is we're a smaller community. This isn't New York, Philadelphia, where there's ward politics. I want the money spent in my ward. I mean, it's never been like that. And it's never like that for small, everybody works together. So this whole ward concept is just to kind of scatter representatives, and it really isn't used in any way where being there, I mean, if you move across the street and you're a different ward, you're not going to do anything different than if you were a councilman. I mean, all of you get calls from people that aren't necessary in your ward, don't you? I mean, don't you just get calls generally from the public that are your friends or that know you? It isn't like you're in my ward. I don't even know that the public really knows.
Just hang up on, we're not my word.
Where it is. So,
Go to Homeland.
so kind of that's, now to do it, you got to pass a charter question, which it won't be that complicated to draft, but the AG's made it a little bit different. I got to fill out the exact day that we'd have to have a meeting and approve this. You go, why? Well, he's got an error in his city charter deal. I was able to convince him on one of our other elections that he was erred, but now we have a new governor, and I just want to do it right. So it may require some of you to come in on a day if you wanted to do it. I really have to get the day. There's really just a few days in order to publish it the correct number of times and get it on the agenda within the span that it permits it. So, or maybe you hate it. Maybe we should keep wards, and this isn't enough to
We're
vote
all
on.
serving the city of Perry. I mean, what affects one part of town usually affects the other part of town, and I was on the committee that wrote the charter,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I don't know that we brought this up. And we've changed where the city manager can live several times, and every time the public approves it. So it's just really, if you give me that direction, I'll get that question. The language will look like that state statute, which is attached. I mean, that's what it'll look like. If you redistrict, or if you move from the then ward, you won't lose your seat.
Just for that term, and then you wouldn't be able to run, I mean.
You would have to run in the new, you'd have to run in the new ward, yeah.
But it also seems like it's harder and harder to get people to serve on the city council. So, we didn't find anybody in that ward, and I did go to the election board to see if they could just print me off the people living in that ward, and they can't. And so it's really hard to know how to appoint people if you can't know who lives where. I mean,
Yeah. We've talked about going, and it would be in the future, we've talked about going to a smaller number of councilmen, going to 5 or, 4 and the mayor. And that's never been, every time that's been brought up, there really hasn't been a lot of interest. I don't know that that's ever made it to the public, but no one has really liked that idea when we've kind of floated it before. But there is you would have to charge, you'd have to change that charter provision. It would really be the ones that have the shorter term when they went off. That would be it. I mean, that's the way it would be, that's the way it would be written. And then we'd have to buy a new diet.
This was a gift.
You could just spread
New
out the
chairs?
chairs, because you wouldn't be adding people, so you just spread out the chairs.
Thank you.
Just something in the middle.
And you
We
wouldn't,
can retire this chair.
you can retire.
It has to be
Horrible
difficult, so see?
We're not getting cut off. At first, I read through there that, we are going to election anyways, and we could put that out there, that they can elect, but at the same time, they did elect that official, and it is the whole city of Perry that does get the vote, not just that ward. So I don't know, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll
that is
back
the
and
other
forth,
part
but-
of it. And going to, Enid was like this. All votes were at large, and then they changed it, and it made it very, very partisan. Where you only, and to me, folks lost interest in government because you only voted, you didn't vote for everybody, you just voted for one person that was in your ward. So interest went down and partisan politics went up. So I like that feature of this. The question is whether you should allow people to, if they move, they retain their seat. And what's interesting is in the statutory city manager form, it's permitted, which is as close to our form as there probably is. So
We can have anything we want,
you can
as long as it's in the charter.
Yeah, you can have, we can make up lots of rules, and if you wanted to, we could return, look at the charter, see if there's anything else that we don't like. We're required to do that once every 10 years, and we did it in 17.
Yeah, we did, I remember doing it not long back.
Yeah. I think we appointed a committee, and the committee got together and took a look at the charter. So we could wait for one of those. It doesn't matter.
I think I would rather wait and get more
Because
information on
they
it.
moved.
What did you say, Jamie?
I said, I personally think I would rather wait and just, there may be a few other tweaks that we should look at and do it, review it and actually try to do it all at once. You really want good representation. You don't want people to, and we're not changing that. It's just the fact that, like you said, somebody moves like Josh and then we can't fill the seat and everybody voted on him and, well, I guess we
He's
voted on
appointed.
him in that first place. But it is.
That's
getting
a whole
harder and
nother
harder.
dynamic, whether you're appointed
Right.
or elected too, could be,
Yeah, that could be part of it too, is if in that case you weren't voted in, so should you be able to represent a different ward?
If I remember right, I think Danette was appointed too.
Yes, she was.
I think, yeah.
Was she?
So-
Yes, she
Yeah,
was.
I think I
Yes,
made
she
that
was.
appointment, maybe, or Brian
Yes.
Ahern made the appointment.
But the main thing is, it's just getting harder and harder to get people to have the time to come and commit to this. So I see the need for it, but at the same time, we represent wards for reasons, and you want to make sure that everybody has fair representation, so. I
Volunteers,
represent all of
yeah,
Perry, but
volunteers and
they may
stuff.
not feel that way, so.
Yeah, and that would be fine too. I just thought that, and I'm the one that brought it up, I just thought since we had two people
Yeah.
resign, I'd bring the issue here. Because I didn't know that you knew that there's another way to do it, and that's the way it is in the statute. It's not found anywhere else in any other form of government that
Well, and it does
that
cost the
rule
city
doesn't apply.
money to
Yeah,
go
it
on
will
the
cost-
election that we're gonna have to, and you're not
It's
gonna have a large
a
turnout.
lot of publication requirements, and then, yeah, we'll have to pay for the election too. There'll be some costs that will be the same, but ballot preparation and all that, yeah, there's money.
And minimum turnout for voting. When it's
Minimum
just a-
200 people show up.
Minimum
Yeah.
turnout at this election, because
Yeah.
it's not
It's
a,
all named as special, so you
Right.
have minimum turnout.
yep.
Item 10. Waive competitive bidding and order and purchase of one 2021 420X 173H asphalt zipper hot rod from Asphalt Zipper for $180,000.
Motion to waive competitive bidding.
Be dragging down.
Were you mumbling or were you making a motion?
I was trying to make an motion
I'm
and
sorry.
something happened over here. I don't know.
Speak up.
I have to talk over people. I make the motion to waive the competitive biddings and authorize the purchase of the hot rod asphalt zipper.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Lyons,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
I'd like to say something about this one too. I do appreciate you putting in the book where the money's coming from to do these things. Like on this one, you put, this would be from the Malzahn Family Affiliated Grant. That helps me when I know where it's coming from.
Now, I will tell you, the requisition was $180,200. And I called the guy up and I said, come on, you know, I got a $180,000 grant. You're gonna take the $200 off, and he did, so,
Good job.
yes, it was good.
And now you'll pay Bryce that $200.
No,
Because, you know, he talked for a while. and-
I was in the office and I had to hang his phone up. Like, okay, that's enough.
Stop talking. He said he did that pro bono for the city.
It was very fast.
Item 11, consider approval of the professional services agreement between MKEC for topographic utility boundary survey and HEC RAS model for $11,800 for Second and Maple neighborhood drainage improvements.
Hello, excuse me, what does that mean?
What does what mean?
What does this mean? What is that gonna consist of?
Go ahead.
Well, there is this HEC-RAS model is a demonstration of where the water goes currently. Of course, the survey, and this is all done in that drainage basin. There is a Google map, I think everyone's seen, that is part of that item, which shows, here it is, it's tab 11, page 3, and that's the area. You run this model, the HEC-RAS model there, and it tells you where the water is, where the water goes, and it gives you the information to be able to do plans and specifications and design a project. So this isn't the ultimate design, this isn't plans and specs, this is more information, and it's an expenditure of $11,800 for him to then come back and say, this is the way the water goes during a 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 year flood, and this is the way I think we need to handle the water. So there'll be another step to this after we receive this, and at that point we can make a decision as to whether or not we want him to proceed with plans and specs or not. This will give us all the information that we need.
We've already done this twice?
No, we have not.
In 2019,
Okay,
there was
wait.
an aerial one that he
No,
did. I
thi-
have one, okay, let me finish.
This doesn't do it. I mean, you have to do this. This is engineering that is required. You have to do one of these models. Otherwise, it's makeup. You know, you're making up. And that's what we've gone through. Let's put it down the ditch. Oh, it's going to come down the ditch too fast. And then is it going to turn? And then is it going to flood other people? This is actually an engineering model. They come out and they do surveys, so they make sure that they know how high the street is, how low the property is in all of these. They can get a lot of it from Google, and they can get a lot of it from the topography maps, okay? But they're going to go out and confirm those with actual points, okay? And they confirm those with the points, and then they run this model through it, and then they tell us exactly. And I just want to answer, no, we haven't done anything like this. We've just had theory, they've given some theory on what we should do. And this actually provides us the information so that we know what we could do. Now, you may ask, this would have been something good to have done 2 years ago. And with that, I have to agree with you. I mean, and that's probably where the frustration is, because I've just learned about a HEC-RAS model. I mean, I didn't know about this, but this really is what we need to know what to do with this basin. I think that's where we were. We want to treat the basin. We don't want to just treat
Okay,
the
but
yard.
you can't
or
treat
street.
the basin if you can't stop the water that comes down Second Street from Tower and Maple. You're missing the whole point. There's 2 major floods, and I thought when that man came and you did the first one, that spent 8 hours and he painted the sidewalk. Do you guys remember when he came, the first one, and they had the 3? Here we go back to the 3
Options.
Thank you. Did he not come that day with the whole printout, the engineer, when he came and the guy was out there and he sprayed all of the sidewalks and he did all of the measuring? I know he stayed there at the easement for like 5 hours just in my neighborhood, and he was up at the corner of Tower, and he told you the philosophy of the water that came and the measurements. Does not, when was it, in June, I think, that he was here with his presentation? Are we not repeating it? Am I confused?
I think we can argue this all day long, okay? But
I'm
we
not
as a-
trying to
no,
argue
hang
it.
on. No, you had your piece. I've taken a lot, okay? We are moving forward with this project, trying to get you in the city where we need to get, okay? Every time you come back, there's none of us just sitting here looking at you anymore. We're being progressive and trying to move this thing forward, okay? So you have to let us do what, you can stand up there and argue with us
I'm
about
not, I'm just asking.
how many projects and how many people have been out there and how many cans of spray paint. But we're still gonna do this. You understand? So that's why I'm
I
getting.
just don't see why wasting money if you're gonna have to go back and then you're gonna sit there and tell me we don't have the money to fix it.
Okay, we have never said that we were going.
He has.
Okay, I'm not talking about him, okay? I'm talking about this council. This council is trying to move forward to help your project, okay?
And just because you don't feel good, don't be angry at me.
I don't have anything wrong with me.
Okay, that's fine, but I am trying to do with you.
No, but what I'm saying, you can't
And I'm
continue.
busting my
You
butt in my
can't
own
continue to come
property
back here
trying.
and crawl up my attorney's rear, and he's telling you we gotta have this, okay? This is the way municipalities work, okay? We have to have engineering, okay? We can't go out and we're not gonna go out and just start moving dirt. It's
I
not
didn't
gonna
ask
happen.
you to. I've never
That's
asked
what
you.
you always ask us the whole time.
No, I didn't. I asked you to help me bring dirt back after I paid for it.
Okay.
Don't start. I haven't asked you to do anything. I've asked you to help
Every
me.
meeting you come to here, okay? We've been very polite in letting you do this. We're trying to explain what we're gonna do, okay? And you're telling us we're wrong.
No, I asked you, has not this been done?
Okay, he just told you no.
Okay, great.
Well, I mean, or either MKEC is crazy and they have done it and they're trying to charge us again, I mean, that is a possibility. And tomorrow I'll call Keith and say,
Now, you can laugh about this all you want. It's really not funny.
well, I'm not laughing.
You don't even live in Perry. You keep saying we with all the bills. You don't even live here. You got a mouse in your pocket. It's not funny.
You don't have to come be disrespectful.
So not funny.
So there are different phases. You heard us just talking about that even this morning. If we came, just with the money that they talked about for over $1 million, if we just came and said, hey, we've talked to this engineering firm, and this is the theories that we have, and we think we can go start work tomorrow. He is not gonna give us $1 million to go to these projects. You have to go the extra mile, and you have to actually.
That's fine.
So we said the other one would not work.
That's right.
So now we have to go dig deeper and go, okay, so what will work? Because the cheaper method is not
And
an
I'm willing
option.
to wait. I just was
So
asking.
now we
you
have to
not
go
through
deeper and
this.
go, okay, that one is off the table. So before we go spend the money that we were talking about, you have to go deeper and make sure that the theory would actually work. And how much is it really gonna cost you and what's next in the process? And so that's what we're looking at, is what's next, because that other one's off the table. So we don't even know where the money would come from or how much we need, because we took the cheap one off. So now to go fix it, we gotta go figure out what we're fixing.
So
it
when the
seems
first one
like
was
it's all
ordered,
just a
should we
lot of
have
work.
done this one to begin with? And we just didn't go all the way?
No, there's
I'm
phases.
just so confused.
There's phases to the project. Even when you go to the next layer, then it's like, okay, that one we're still gonna progress, and now we gotta go. I mean, you are talking about a lot of water in a whole neighborhood that you have to make sure that you're taking care of and not causing more problems down the road. So, it doesn't.
It's been so many years. Okay, so Okay.
You know, what this says is, given that the limited flows from the existing drainage easement can accept additional HEC-ROS modeling will be needed to determine the best options. So she may be right. There may have been limited HEC-ROS modeling. I mean, why is the word additional there? So they may have done a portion of this, but not as large of an area.
Well, the last time too, we also asked him to, what's it gonna take to get it all the way down to that creek that's down by the railroad system? Because
Right.
it can't just sit behind the next phase of the neighborhood.
Right.
And those, he didn't have the answers for.
And he didn't, so I assume that will be part of it. Each time we have this, I take this, I take the information that we got there back to him and make sure that he's up to speed. So, but I mean, that does say that additional HEC-RAS modeling, so they very well may have, she may be right that they, that they're provided, but, we can just, these are the folks that designed all of our streets, this phase, designed all of our drainage, and as I know, we haven't had any issue on any of it. They've done a real good job. So.
Well, the other piece that we were talking about was that would take care of the not even the 10-year flood, and then you had the 20-year, and
Right.
So, which one of which flood is it actually taking care of?
Well, when they provide that model, they will have that information. Of course, with each flood, it costs more.
Right.
So, we all know that if it rains, 18 inches in 2 hours, we're all gonna be underwater. So, it's gotta be, something dramatically less than that. But you can't out-engineer yourself from not getting flooded. Because, God drops the water, and, you can only do the best job you can. All drainage structures have limitations, but that's what part of this is gonna be. They're gonna bring it back and let us know, really talk to us before they do plans and specifications of what the various cost is and how far do you want us to go.
So we're gonna approve the professional services with MKC.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 12, items pertaining to the Perry Municipal Airport improved fuel farm. Item A, approve change order number 1 in the amount of $4,029.91 with J&J Solutions LLC to replace a portion of the existing water line at the Perry Municipal Airport.
We do these separately.
Pardon?
Motion to approve.
Do they have to be individual?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kevin?
It's your turn, Kevin.
You have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Approve FAA Delphi request for reimbursement in the amount of $132,332 and $2,739 for improved airport drainage project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item C, approve application for payment number 1 in the amount of $123,846.75 with J&J Solutions for improvement of the airport drainage project at the municipal airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item D, approve payment to Park Hill in the amount of $2,500 for work and improvement airport drainage project at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 13, ratify payment up to $20,025 to reimburse Stillwater Medical Center Authority for hiring Health Facilities Group LLC to design a remodeled hospital to be used to apply for construction grants. Bryce?
Yes, well, at some point, if we want our hospital to continue to survive, live, and grow, we're going to have a plan to make it more modern and to make it cost effective. And I think we've talked about this many times. Rural hospitals don't need, all the rooms that we have. They need to be together. There needs to be a door where you come in, you go to the clinic, or you go to the ER. And that way you can have one team of a doctor and nurses, and the nurses and doctors aren't spread all over the hospital, which causes increased costs. We need to remodel the hospital, and in addition to that, there are opportunities, real opportunities. We had opportunities, and we talked about there's real opportunities again. In fact, they're being negotiated, and part of the remodel would be for the opportunity, but we have to have these plans so that we can apply for grants, and we're wanting to target ARPA grants and the grants that the Fed are putting out right now. Because Larry has the power up to 30,000. I mean, we talked about it and pretty much told the hospital to go ahead, Stillwater to go ahead with it. They look at this as, until it's their building, it's your facility, we'll operate in it. Now, that may change at some point, but, that's a reasonable assumption. They're already putting a lot of money, but I think we did talk about the fact the hospital's doing very well. Did we not say that? Hospital's doing very well recently, and so there's, Stillwater has become more interested. And, we have a date out there after which, Stillwater doesn't have to continue services. So we're looking for an extension of that agreement. We're looking for additional uses, and it's management's recommendation that you agree to reimburse Stillwater to put this remodel design plan together to go solicit grants. Now, you won't have to pay the money out now, and the money can be rolled into any grant or any project that we come out. So you're not really putting it out now, although you're promising, Meredith. So we have to, we need to find, we need to encumber, we need to find a source, even if we're not. And what were you thinking for that, for those dollars?
Was that, sorry,
Yeah, I think the ARPA.
We've talked to NODA. We've talked to NODA about an Economic Development Authority grant.
Oh, okay.
So.
Right. Well, but at this point, it would be ARPA dollars.
Yeah.
It's a small amount, and we don't have to pay it now. So we just identify that. But we really want you to do this.
When would we have to pay it?
It would be, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, And you wouldn't have to pay it at all because it would be lumped into their fee to design it. They're doing what John does. Okay, they're giving us, it's a contingency fee, except it's a little different than John's. If you don't do it, you have to pay me. If you do it, then we'll just lump it into this. You don't have to pay me now. So they're putting it on the come that this will be a project.
So if they get the grant, then we won't have to pay it, right?
Yeah, the grant, and if we put together a proposal, it'll be part of it. Yeah, it'll be part of it, but at that point, we won't have to pay it because they'll do a fee based on a percentage, and that's how they'll get paid. This won't be lumped on.
Say that again?
If they get a project, engineers do a project based on fee, and so if they get their fee, and I think what they said was like 8%, right? Yeah, if they get their 8% fee, then they get that fee, they don't get this. This is a loss leader. If you don't do it, pay us. It's a typical way that professionals do it. But if you end up, you pick us and we're the architect and we move forward, then you just pay us our fee and they eat this.
So they're modeling it so we can turn it in for grants. If we get the grant, well, this hospital gets the grant,
If we build it,
they use that engineering firm, then that goes away. If not,
That's correct.
and they just used them in order to get the grant, then the $20,000 will be owed to them. A different engineering firm is picked.
If we do the project, you'll never have to pay it. You'll never have to pay this, but you'll end up doing probably an 8% on it. So, this is a loss leader. If you don't
So
do it,
it'll be more
you
money
pay.
later instead of the $20,000.
Well, yeah, it'll be more money, but there'll be more work too, because this
Got
is
it.
just,
3
this is a
years?
preliminary plan. Yeah, I think we're 2 years away from anything.
Got it.
Council?
So do you need a motion for this?
Yeah, we want you to approve it because Larry and I have already, Larry's approved it, and I told him it would be a good idea to approve it.
We can tell by the recommendation.
So we really want you to approve it. This is where Larry's
Asking for forgiveness.
authority comes into play, but it really should be approved.
Well, I make a motion we ratify payment up to $20,025 to reimburse Stillwater Medical Center Authority.
Second.
Hiring Health Facilities Group LLC to design and remodel hospital to be used to apply for construction grants.
Perfect.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Brown, Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Larry, are there any other promises we need to know about?
Right.
Are you talking about 14 or 15?
14.
Okay. We're gonna skip over item 14.
And then the reason is that's a part of
Yeah,
what
we
we've
heard-
discussed.
yeah.
Yeah.
We went into depth with
Okay,
that.
item 15, presentation on meeting of the Noble County Commissioners on participation in the cost of the Black Bear Conservancy District project at the Lake Dam pursuant to their sponsorship from ARPA funding. ARPA. Bryce, you were at this meeting?
Yes. Yes, Larry and I and Russ went there. We were met very graciously. They heard our proposal and we gave them, I think we gave you the documents that we gave them and showed them how much we'd spent to date. And Russ made a pitch for, an equal, for them to consider an equal sponsorship to ours. And of course, we pointed out the issues that we own the land under the dam and a little bit of the land around the dam, and a bunch of other property owners own the land around the dam, that we've paid those property owners that own land around the dam hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars so we can do this project. And that part of the sponsorship duty is to build part of the structure and the road over the dam, which is a county road. And that the county had told us when we asked them to be sponsors that they'll be sponsored, but they let us know at the time that they didn't have, any money to do it, and we accepted that, the fact that they didn't have any money, but they pointed out, if in the future from a grant or something, if we get money, we'd be happy to participate. Well, we're happy that they were provided money under ARPA, 2.8
I could not tell you what the count.
What's a bunch of money?
It's a bunch.
And it can only be used for water, sewer, and telecommunications. I had that number. I've dealt with multiple counties, and I forget the number in Noble County on this same issue. And I think that, I'll let Larry comment, but I thought their reception was very good. Gary May said, bring it to us. Our own district commissioner was very favorable, and the chairman, pointed out that the rules aren't all established yet, and they want to make sure that it, complies legally. And so, we're waiting for that, and we're going to give them some more information, and, we're very happy about making that presentation. We thank the council for assisting us with that decision and that direction to go talk to them, because that was good on your part. So we're going to continue that, and we're very hopeful that will be a successful venture. Larry, do you have any comments?
Every one of them was supportive of the project and knew that now they do have money. But, depending on the guidelines, if they can, then it would certainly be helpful to help.
Great.
It was a great meeting, I thought.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Bryce.
Going to do that.
We will move to item 16, any new business that needs to come before the council this evening. Item 17 is a misprint. You can stay if you would like. So we will skip over item 18 also. We will move straight to item 19, motion on adjournment.
So moved.
Roll call.
Wines? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Dilbeck?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Stover?
Yes.